A lot of people have the desire but don't have the discipline. They have the desire to be rich, the desire to be successful, but do you have the discipline in the boring stuff? The wealth is in the boring stuff. Because what I would do and what you wouldn't do, I would then stay up a bit later and do my research. I will dig deeper into something, all the boring stuff, but then I'm armed with more knowledge. And now I need to execute on that. I'm coming to you with data, I'm coming with stats, I'm coming with knowledge of your competitors. Now they want to listen.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Need to Succeed podcast, where we have incredible conversations with phenomenal entrepreneurs and just to understand that what is their need to succeed. Because here's the thing, two people can go through the exact same situation. One person decides because of this situation, they can no longer achieve the things that they want to achieve. The other person decides because of the exact same situation that they absolutely have to achieve everything that they dreamt of. Same scenario, different outcomes. What is the difference in the mindset? That is exactly what we look to uncover on this podcast. And today we have an absolutely incredible guest with us. She is a leadership coach. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Michelle Raymond.
Hey. Love the intro.
You like it? Yeah?
I did.
Practice for that. No, it's like I want to be Michael Buffer. You want boxing?
Yes.
You're Michael Buffer, yeah. I'm slowly but surely. Okay. I think he gets paid like £1 million a year for doing that. So I'm not sure I'm there yet, but you know, I'll give Eddie Hearn a call soon.
Exactly.
But honestly, Michelle, thank you so much for being there. What I just said to Chris, I said this is going to be an incredible conversation.
Yes.
I'm super excited for this, yeah, and I know everyone's going to get a huge amount of value from it. But what I didn't tell you is that we've got a tradition on the podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything else we're just going to freestyle.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to free flow.
Okay.
But there are two set questions.
Okay.
That's the first one and the last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the rest of it, we'll see where we go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm up for it.
So let's get started then. So what does success mean to you?
Success means to me is being able to fulfill my heart's desire. So, and if my heart's desire is to write a book, that's success. If my heart's desire is to have a fully fledged, happy family, that's success. So whatever my heart desire is, that is what success is. As long as I can execute on it, it may take longer than usual, but that's what success means to me, definitely.
Interesting. I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Not push back on it, but I want to understand that because there's this connotation of entrepreneurship, which is, entrepreneurship, you're actually giving up a little bit of your life and your soul. You're just focused on, this and this, and everything else that, that maybe brings you joy, or the way other people perceive joy, maybe time with family, all of this stuff, nourishing the body, enjoying the food. We forget all of that just to attain this success, right?
Yeah.
So that's this connotation that people have with entrepreneurship. Sometimes I think people who are actually working, they almost use that as like a thing to like beat down.
Yes.
But you're not as happy as me, all right? Yeah. And all of this, right? But to not, again, I don't want to use the language of to push back, but to just get a better understanding of what you meant by that. Because if you're saying it means that if I want to, have a family, and when I achieve that, then that's success. Or if I was the other example that you used.
It could be writing a book.
Writing a book, that's success. But then typically, I want to write a book. And I'm literally talking for me now.
Nice.
I want to write a book. I'm going to write a book. And I also want to expand my family as well.
Okay.
And I also want, so in terms of my business, I want to expand my business. I want to go to Nigeria and do some, not philanthropic, but, create something that, yes, I'm invested in it, but actually, if we get it right, it's also going to yield dividends as well financially. Yeah. Like, bloody hell, mate, I might never achieve that until my deathbed.
Yeah.
So,
do you need to achieve all of them at the same time? So success has no limits and no boundaries. That's the difference. So when people say to me, oh, Michelle, you're always working, you're always doing this. Do you get to spend time with your family? Yes, I do. But I've told my family that at this period of time, I'm in building season. When I'm in building season, that means I won't have enough time to spend with you as much as I would like. So I could be being successful in this area. Once that's established, then it's the family. And I hear when people say, well, can't you have it all? But I don't think you can have it all at the same time. That's just personal. Probably I've not found the right strategy, but I don't believe that we can have it all at the same time unless we have massive team and people doing other stuff for us. But when you're a one-man band, I have a small team and I still have to be on top of them. So at the moment, I'm building the business and my family understand that, and then I build my level of success with them as well.
Yeah,
that's. I just believe that it's going to be happening at different times.
it's a circle of life.
Yeah,
There's yin and yang. I spoke about this not too long ago when people talk about work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a myth. You've just said there about having a strong team. Yeah. When it comes to work-life balance, it depends on where you are in life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you're just starting off, forget about work-life balance. You have got a long way to go before you strike that. Unless you want to sacrifice something. Again, coming back to the yin and yang. Yeah. If you're willing to sacrifice your goals, willing to sacrifice everything that you want to achieve in life to give your family the life that you want them to live, then cool, you can have a little bit of chill time. That's fine, but it's not a negative thing. It's just this is the decision that you've made. But to think that you can achieve, the same level of success that maybe you have, that I have, but yet just chill and lay around, it's not going to happen because you're competing with monsters out there.
Exactly. And I hear people especially say to me, oh, Michelle, take some time off, and that's fine. But what people don't realize, I actually enjoy what I do. So I don't see it as pressure. I don't see it as work. I don't see it as I need to take time away. When I need to take time away, I take that time away. But I enjoy what I do and I find the enjoyment in it. So I don't feel like I need to run away. I don't feel like I need time to recuperate. When things get heavy, I step back. But most of the time, I enjoy the work. I wake up early. I go to bed late. That may not work for someone else, but it works perfectly for me. Does it work for my husband? Well, that's a different question. We're working on that. But for me, it works. Yeah. So it's just different things for different people.
Know thyself. Know thyself.
That's right.
Perfect. Okay, cool. I don't normally start with this because normally for me, what I like to do is really understand the journey. I don't want to talk about everyone's successes and all the things that you're doing. We're probably going to touch on that later on, but I like to talk about the journey because for me, that's where I feel like the true nuggets are, because someone is in that journey right now.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going through hell.
Yeah.
And so she went through okay, cool. Like that gives you inspiration to keep going. Because now, it's because
we didn't wake up like this. We didn't wake up like this.
Do you know what I'm saying? The struggle is really, the struggle is real. But I'm gonna start a little bit differently with you. I want to just explain to us that what is it that you actually do?
So I'm a leadership development coach and trainer, and I do this specifically within corporate organisations, and I do it with a D&I lens. So when I'm developing emerging leaders, we're looking at through cultural intelligence, ensuring that they are managing and leading their teams in an inclusive manner. So it's not just leadership. It's not just development or management training. It's all done with a D&I lens. So they start as they mean to go on.
What's D&I?
D&I stands for diversity and inclusion.
Okay.
Yeah. And we cover equality. It's just making sure that they are aware of their biases. Mm-hmm. They are aware of some of their behaviours, because people are born the way they are. If you don't correct them or show them that there's better ways of behaving, then they'll never know. So that's what I aim to do. So that's what I do. And I've been doing that for a number of years. My background is actually in HR. So I've been in HR for 25 years.
Makes sense.
So that's how I got into doing the leadership training. And I do a lot of public speaking.
Okay.
And part of my business now is also helping small entrepreneurs or diverse entrepreneurs secure corporate contracts. I'm a diverse entrepreneur. I'm a woman. I am Black. And so I have managed to find a blueprint of getting corporate gigs. I get them all the time. So why can't I not see more of us doing that? So now I've created part of my business helps entrepreneurs get corporate contracts.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about this D&I stuff.
Okay.
Right? What's your answer to the people who says this D&I stuff is just nonsense? Right? This diversity and inclusion is just nonsense because everything should be done on merit. Like, why should other people not get an opportunity just because you're black, you're Asian, you're disabled, or whatever it is? So we have to have this quota, this tokenism, where everything should just be based on merit.
But things are never based on merit, because by process of how organizations are built, they are built in a way that it supports the status quo. So even when I was doing HR, when we were doing our application forms, the process which was online, it was systematically discriminatory just by how it was set up. They will ask you certain questions that if I went to a school in inner London or something like that, I wouldn't even know the answer to that because I wouldn't have been taught that, I wouldn't have been exposed to that. So by nature of the recruitment process, it's inherently discriminatory. So it needs to be unpicked. So it will never be done on merit. It will never be done on merit. So what I try and say is, we're not here for you to, well, in America, they call it positive action. So you have spaces just available for black or ethnic minorities. What we're trying to do is understand that we're not all starting at the same level. That's the thing. So how can we start on the same level? That might mean giving more mentoring opportunities to your ethnic minority staff, your marginalised staff, to get them on par with their white counterparts. And then they go up equally from then. That's what it is. The thing about merit, it really doesn't exist. So what I try and do is work with leaders and understand, okay, you've got people in your team. When was the last time your ethnic minority staff have been promoted? And they will say, oh, no, they're not good, or they haven't met a criteria. So then I look at the criteria, and then I see in the criteria, oh, yeah, they could be disadvantaged because they haven't gone to a Russell Group university. But yeah, that's what you're asking for. But predominantly, a black or Asian ethnic minority employees may not have gone to the Russell Group University. So it's already putting them at a disadvantage. So I just get them to open their eyes to what they have not seen. They might have been intentionally blinded. They might choose to be blinded. But I'm here to shine a light and say, right, let's work this out. Let's dismantle and rebuild.
Okay, cool. So a couple of weeks ago, I had another guest on it. You might know her, Jamelia Obsessed, right?
Yes.
Treasure Trace. Okay, cool. So
she's one of my clients.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, you're smart. Yeah, I'm not surprised. So I was pushing back on her and saying, well, look, let's just call a spade a spade. Yeah. Like, these people, it sounds like a racial. It sounds like it's racially motivated in terms of the fact that, if you, because her message is, there is, I think, there's 2%, or is it 2 or 3% of black and ethnic minorities?
Yes.
But yet we account for 10% right, of purchasing of this product. So why are they not now creating products to hit that target market? Because this is, even if we're talking from a fiscal standpoint, this makes good business.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So why would you not be doing that, right? Okay, cool. So so that's why I push back on it. Like, no, let's call it a spade. This sounds like what it is to me. So what I will push back on you on, just to balance up this argument, is say, okay, cool. What about the working class whites? Based on the same example you just gave there.
Okay. So I would say with working class whites, it's the same thing applies. They will be disadvantaged as well. And for them, you still need to make it equal. So let's say if I'm in an organisation and they have... I wouldn't call it working class white, but let's say if they had an employee who's coming from a traveller background, so like a gypsy background, they are seen as disadvantaged. So just like ethnic minority counterparts, they would need a leg up, whatever that leg up might mean, like giving them more access to opportunities to get them on the same level. It's the same thing. So when I'm talking about diversity inclusion, I'm not just talking about black people. I'm not just talking about women. I'm not just talking about LGBTQ+. I'm talking about any segment of the organization that has not been exposed to opportunities as probably the predominantly middle class white. Let's give them opportunities.
Amazing.
That's the difference.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's a powerful message.
Yeah.
It's because it is true. Everything is not equal.
No.
People think so much. Like it's just ridiculous how it's weird how people cannot look outside of their own lived experience and just try to understand through someone else's lived experience.
Right.
It's really, really weird, but that's the world that we live in these days, right?
And yeah, definitely.
Cool. So let's talk about you then. How you come to, doing these things that you're not doing, right? Like, if we look back, what is your earliest memory of you say, you know what, you had an experience, as a child, younger age that really kind of shaped who you are today?
All right, so nothing from when I was younger, because I'm not going to be telling about no rags to riches story. We don't have that here.
Okay.
I grew up in a household. There was money, but I didn't have my money. The family had money, and yeah, exactly. So I never had. We lived in poverty. We lived in these high-rise flats. We didn't have that.
Where did you live?
Right, so we always lived in Kent.
Okay.
Around the Bromley area. My mum was a single working mother, and she used every effort, every facet of her body to just make me who I am today. That's what I have to say. So she put me through private school. I had singing lessons. I had elocution lessons. She did it all herself. And I've always watched her, and I just thought, gosh, she's always put me first. And my mother and I are close. We're like sisters. And I have a daughter, and me and my daughter are very close. So all three of us are very close. So there was nothing in my childhood, but there was a period of time when I was in my early 20s, and that shaped me. So a bit later than most people, but just as much impactful. And that, in my early 20s, I was married to this gentleman who I just thought, was the bee's knees, good looking. We were going to this church, and he was like one of the, they're called like an adjutant. An adjutant is somebody that supports the pastor or the bishop. So he had that type of role. And so that means we were always treated well. And me, I've got like a bit of a bougie background. So I'm like, I like to be treated special, right? So it all just fit into my values. That aside, I just thought he, was a really nice person. But I didn't realise that he had a history. And this is a lesson for everybody, just, do your background research, right? So I didn't realise he had a history. And something became up. Suppose I got a phone call out of the blue, and the phone call said, "Oh, Michelle, I can't believe your husband's been fired." And I said, "What do you mean he's been fired? Or he's been suspended?" So I said, "Why is he being suspended?" And she was saying, "Oh, I don't know what he's done." Now, I was working in HR, so I know we do not suspend people without some sort of evidence. So I dug down and to find out what happened. And what he was suspended for, because there's allegations that he abused a child. So I was like, what's going on? So I was at home, and then he came home, and I was just like, what's going on? Now, at this point, I thought our life was fine. So, and I had just given birth, and my daughter was just under 1 at this stage. Only to hear that transpired, well, all these allegations. First it was 1, then it's 2, then it's 3, then about 9 allegations. And it went to court. It was in the newspapers. It was on ITV News. It was in my local press. It went to court. And I just thought, how did I get from here to here in no time at all? And I just couldn't get how I was here. And I remember, so I sing as well, right? So I used to do a lot of backing singing. And at the time I was singing for like Blur, Kylie Minogue, Oasis, some of those bands. And I remember when I went to court, I was sitting down, and someone from my singing agency came and said, "Oh, we wouldn't need you to be singing with us at the moment because of what's happening in my family is causing controversy." So I said, okay, fine. And so I noticed through that journey, loads of people were like dropping me off like I had something to do with it. like I knew about it. Then I saw in the newspapers they were referring to me as the wife of the paedophile. The school, the government agencies got in contact with me, said I need to change my daughter's name. And it was the most horrific time ever. And this went on for years. And I just thought I had to just drop out of society because, you know, people don't want to hear my story. And I just kept my mouth quiet anyway. And I remember I was walking down the road and someone spat in my face, one big spit in my face. And then I had people throwing bricks or rocks through my window. And this time he was on bail, living outside of London. So it was just me and my daughter. And I came under attack because of something that he had done or allegedly had done. And it was the most awful time. And so I stopped singing. I just wasn't active. And I fell into depression. Then I got this thing called urinitis, which is an illness of where you just wet yourself when you're just stressed. If you're traveling too far, that used to happen. I'll be walking and then I will hear either his name. I went into a shop with my mum and I heard people talking about it. He was on the front of the newspaper and I just wet myself in the shop. So all of these things are happening and I just thought, I just can't live like this. Then social services threatened to take my daughter away from me because they said I'm not coping. So all this, it just like, I just thought, I just can't cope. I can't do this. And the change came. I was at church and the pastor had said at the time, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, I've heard this many times before, but for that moment, it just triggered. And I just thought, Michelle, you're not to blame, because I was holding myself responsible. In court, I heard that I invited one of the girls or a couple of the girls round, which I did because they wanted to like play with my daughter. And when I was putting my daughter to bed, she was being molested in my kitchen. And I had no idea. And I heard that for the first time in court. And I just thought, if I didn't bring her over, that wouldn't have happened. So I held myself so responsible for all of it. And that moment, I just thought, I need to transform my mindset. And it was from that time, it was just like a 360. I just thought, I'm not going to be held responsible for this. And then I started speaking up a bit. Then I divorced him. I had to fight for the house. Yeah, it was just mad. But that was my, I call it my Damascus experience, that change. And then from there, I promised myself, and I said to God, when you get me out of this, I will never be invisible again, because I was so invisible. In the courts, they didn't want to hear from me. I went to sit down, someone put their bags and said, I can't sit next to them. Like they're kind of like I was a leper or something. And I just thought, this won't happen again.
Why do you think that was? Were you like standing by him or like?
At the time I was standing by him because I thought he was a liar, you know. At the time I was being the dutiful wife. And then I just thought these little things were coming up. And then and this was back in the day when we had on the mobile phones, they had the printouts of your statement.
Yeah.
Then I went through the statements and I see like all these other telephone numbers. I'm ringing them. It was, young people's telephone numbers. And I just thought, probably there is some truth in this. And then that's when I just thought, yeah, I need to get out of this. But at the time, nobody wanted to speak to me. I had to leave my church because I was a constant reminder. People coming up to me in church and saying, is it true? And I was just like, man, I just need, my mindset had gone completely.
Terrible. I can only imagine. I mean, that opened the can of worms. I wasn't expecting the conversation to go that way, right? That's really, really powerful. Thanks for sharing that. But like, I can imagine. How old were you when you were going through this experience? You said 20s.
Yeah, early 20s. I was like 25 probably.
Yeah, 25. So that's obviously like you said, it would have formed and shaped you as a person, right? What would you say are the biggest lessons that you took from that whole experience?
I think my biggest lesson is don't let other people speak for you, because everybody was speaking for me. Everybody was saying, oh, well, Michelle should have known, Michelle this, Michelle that. and I didn't have a name, and they weren't using my name. And she goes, "Oh, his wife, or the wife of the paedophile." That's what I was referred to. So now, when I introduce myself to people, I say my name is Michelle Raymond, and although I'm remarried, I've kept my maiden name. So I had my marital name, then went back to my maiden. I've remarried, but I've kept my name because now I feel there's power in my name. And so although my name should be Michelle Silksarcorn, I'm keeping Michelle Raymond. And that's the first thing I told them. I said, don't even ask me to change my name. I had to fight for this name. And I think that's what I think has definitely shaped me. So I don't want people to speak for me, and I'm not confrontational or anything like that. But if I feel like someone's taking the mick with me, I'm going to say something because I feel like I've been down that road before, and no one's going to pull the wool over my eyes again.
Amazing. Yeah, well, I mean, I can imagine how transformative that experience would be, and to have that identity will become very, very firmly ingrained in you as well, right? Okay, cool. So how do you come out of that?
Well, do you know, you've got to. The three things I always talk about: my faith, family, and my friendships. I found new friendships through this experience. I lost old friends. My faith in God wavered completely because I thought, how could he let this happen to me? I didn't do anything, but I had to renew my faith. And my family, they've been a rock. I've had them just helping me, at the time they were buying me food because I wouldn't cook, looking after my daughter and stuff like that. So, and just supporting me and knowing that I'm not to blame and pushing me through. And that's what got me through, really.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to have a good network around you. Gosh.
Yeah, 100%. People always say your network is your net worth.
Yes.
I said the people don't really understand what's behind that. For me, the way that I view that is, having all of the resources you need.
Yes.
At literally an arm's length. So it doesn't matter what it is that you need, whether it's directly someone that you know or one of them knows someone who can actually give you all of the resources that you'll ever need. That's really what your network is, your net worth means. But obviously for you, it wasn't even anything to do with entrepreneurship.
Yeah, no. That emotional support, I needed that.
Yeah. But then obviously, like you said, what's happening in your personal life, we know this in business, whether you're an employee, an entrepreneur, business owner, your personal life definitely carries into your work life. I mean, you were seeing this firsthand, so people were dropping you like they're dropping Russell Brand at the moment, like a hot cake, yeah? So how do you, first of all, these are people who, you would have had personal relationships with, people who you liked, you trusted, you considered them as friends. You thought that, you guys, had something. And now all of a sudden, they're like, it's like you're nothing.
Yeah.
You were gone, move on. So how do you even think about rekindling, not the relationship with those people? I mean, I don't know, maybe you did, but just generally, do you think about going back into the industry? Like, how did you get your career back together?
Yeah, I think it definitely took some time, and I was in employment during that time, and I didn't want to get into entrepreneurship at all. But a couple of there were girls then, they're now young ladies, who were involved when all this thing was happening with my ex-husband. Three of them have reached out to me, and we've had meetings, we've had catch-ups, it's been crying, it's been tears, it's been a lot. And that has been a healing process for me. Even with the parents who were involved as well, that's been a healing. And I just felt to myself, when you're in these situations, you just don't know what people are thinking, because I heard, oh, Michelle, I thought you were involved. I thought you knew when you were protecting him. I said, no, that wasn't the case at all. And so it was like, it was that almost like a weight off their shoulder and weight off my shoulder. So that I definitely have rekindled with them. And at the time, I really wanted to do something charitable where I can help other women. And I called it the invisible victims of crime. I actually done a TEDx talk about it. And I wanted to be there for other women or men who they've become an indirect victim of what somebody else had done. And I started up a little forum and community just to help other people to talk it through. And since then, I have stopped doing that. But if somebody had comes to me even now and they said, "Oh, Michelle, I watched your TEDx talk," I know it was really emotional. I was emotional when I was delivering it, and I had a really severe back pain. My whole body just shut down because every time I talk about it, well, back then it was really heavy going. So, I just rebuilt my networks, and I felt like I had to start from scratch, to be fair. But now I just stick to my mantra. I'm on a mission to make the invisible visible, because I know what it was like to be invisible. And I promised myself I'll never be invisible again. You all know my name. And I don't care how long it takes, but you will know my name. And that's been my driving force.
How do you do that? How do you make the invisible visible?
Showing up and being consistent. And consistent doesn't mean all the time. That's being constant. But being consistent is, if I'm going to show up twice a week, I'm showing up twice a week. If it's every day, it's every day. And it's having something positive to share all the time. I'm never one of those people. You'll never see me on social media ranting. Never rant. My time is too precious to be rant. I'll leave that to other people. I want to always share. I did a little rant one time, and it was definitely against my brand, because I had a couple of people said, "Michelle, don't do that again. Take it off. Take it off social media." But it was good. It was good. We're all learning, right?
Good friends around you.
Yeah, and it's just showing up and just letting people know that you're skilled, letting them know that you're credible. Reputation matters to me. So, like, if somebody puts me forward for something, I'm going to represent you like it's you. You'll never, I've never had anyone say anything negative to say when I'm representing somebody. Mm-hmm. I'm always putting my best foot forward. So I think that's what's being visible, that reputation. Even what your past guest has said about personal branding, you're going to be judged on that. Mm-hmm. And I know that. I've known it from the negative, and I now know it from the positive. So that's for me. That's what visibility and credibility. Not just being visible for being visible's sake. So that, for me, there's a difference between making a noise and making a sound. Making a noise is just rocking up on social media, just chatting, whatever. But making a sound is when you show up in power, and you are transformative in some way, that after they listen to you, they're sitting there thinking, "Oh gosh, oh yeah, I can do that." That's for me what visibility is.
I love that. And I'm glad that you've made a distinction between visibility and credibility, because the truth is there is a massive difference. Mm-hmm. But it's so difficult for the untrained eye to decipher that on social media right now, because there's a lot of visibility going on. You can have 0 followers on TikTok. You do one crazy video, it goes viral. The video is absolute garbage in terms of value, but now you realize that you're going to get rewarded for garbage. Mm-hmm. So you put out more garbage. And people are digesting that garbage, and they say, "Hey, this is good stuff," right? Mm-hmm. Because they're saying, there's a bias, right? It's like this sheep factor we call in sales. So because you see that post has got 11,000 likes, I love this stuff. This is great content. When actually, if you only had 10 likes, you'd be like, "This is garbage," right? Exactly. So it just so visibility doesn't necessarily mean credibility.
No,
so
exactly. So you need to have both.
100%. I completely agree with you on that. Cool. So, like, leadership is such a loaded word, right?
It is.
It's like, how did you come into this space? And I mean, there is a lot of leaders right now. I think that's one of the reasons why Andrew Tate blew up as quickly as he did, because he's someone who people looking up to and saying, you look at I won't go as far as say look at your values, but we look at some of the things that you've achieved. We look at the way you talk about how young men should carry themselves these days, what young men should be focusing on, and how to actually attain success. Yeah, that's why he's got this huge following, because it's like, here's an example of a leader. Now, I'm going to say that with some context, because obviously there's baggage that comes with that. But the whole point is, because there is a vacuum of leadership, it becomes very easy for someone like that to obviously very quickly ascend to the top, right? So for you, how do you view leadership, and how did you come into becoming a leader?
So I got into it through HR. So my background is in HR. So I was already working with leaders. I almost fell into it because I thought, oh, actually, there's space for someone like me. But I've been challenged with my own leadership because I did this years ago. I did this like personality thing, and I know this is an issue I have. Is I want to be liked. So let's just keep it very real. I have this problem, right? Look at me exposing myself. I'm just gonna say it.
Mm.
So. But true leaders don't care whether they're liked or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I've battled with this. And I've noticed in my quest to be liked, I've not met my own personal and professional and financial goals. As a leader, but if I was to stand up in my true leadership, irrespective of whether you like me or not, I will know that I'll meet my personal, professional and financial goals. So that's something I've battled on. And sometimes
What's the battleground?
The battleground is like, how can I be liked and be a true leader where that means sometimes you've got to stand up and say things that people don't like. And that means you'll lose friends, you could lose followers, you could lose people that thought you were one thing. So I've struggled with that, and I've got a mentor, so I'm not even going to lie. I've got a mentor who's working with me on that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I could help other leaders do it. Mm-hmm. So, but I am now working on some projects, which is definitely exercising my leadership qualities. And I'm thinking, yeah, I can do this. I'm going to do this. And part of being a leader is standing out and putting your head above the parapet, which means you might be thrown flowers, and which means you might be thrown swords. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at. Sometimes I get flowers, sometimes I get swords. Mm-hmm. But either way, I'm here to do what I have to do because no one else is doing it. And that's what a true leader is.
Yeah, like honestly, I love the vulnerability there and saying that because it's crazy. Because I've experienced this myself. Yeah. And I think about all the experience that I've got, all the things that I've achieved, all the people who I've been fortunate to actually come across and work with. Mm-hmm. But yet, especially in the social media space, when you go out there and you start putting content out, you're always worrying about how people are perceiving and all of this. And, at some point you have to say, okay, you know what, it doesn't really matter because if I truly want to lead and I truly want to serve, then here is the information that I know is going to serve people best. And ultimately, you know what? Here's the thing that I noticed as well. The people who do that have the biggest following. The people who do that actually attract, those who the message truly resonate with.
Yes, because it's polarization, isn't it?
Not just polarization, which 100% is because even the ones who hate you they're gonna jump in. The ones who like you're gonna jump in. Exactly that, right? But also it's like the messaging is going to ultimately attract those people who are ready to hear it, and that's who you're speaking to.
Yes.
And the ones who are not ready to hear it, why are you wasting your time trying to please them anyway? Because it's not for them.
It's not for them. Right? It's not for them. Yeah.
And we've got to understand and just say, okay, cool. Like, you know what? This is the message. This is my message, and based on my lived experience, based on what I know, if someone actually digests this information, it's going to help them become better. Yes. And then you have to be true and stand in that. But yeah, I completely understand it's difficult. And when people talk about imposter syndrome, it's so weird until you get into this space. Mm-hmm. It's difficult to really compute what imposter syndrome is.
It really is. Exactly. And, and there's a thing I always think, is it imposter syndrome or is it transference syndrome? Because the people who think that you shouldn't be there, they are the ones that suffer with the imposter syndrome and they put it onto you. So I have to always work out, do I really have imposter syndrome? I put something out one day and I said, I want to show you how you can make like 100K without tendering, corporate contract without tendering. There's somebody in my circle, I saw he put a post. No, he commented and he laughed and he goes, "What's this, Michelle?" So I said, "What's so funny?" And that one comment out of all the rest of the comments got me thinking. So I was thinking, because I'm new in this game, I guess I'm like the imposter. And then I thought, but hold on a minute, or is it him and he's trying to make me feel like an imposter? So I took off the cloak of imposter syndrome and I thought, you know what? You're trying to transfer your negativity and your limitations onto me. Exactly. So now I'm not wearing it. So I don't really say I have imposter syndrome. what I have to do, I always work it out. Is it somebody else's limitation they're putting on to me, or actually, am I good at this? And I just need to walk in that power. That's it.
I love the saying when you say, "What someone else's opinion of me is none of my business."
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you can really embrace that, then it does actually transform.
Yes.
The type of content you put out, the way you deliver it, the energy in which you say it, because now it's like, I don't care. This is what I truly believe is going to serve you.
Yeah, definitely. And my thing is, and I'm an avid believer, if God brought me to this market, I don't care if it's saturated. I don't care if everyone's doing it, because no one's doing it like me. Nobody has my skill set. Nobody has my makeup. So I'm new to this, and I may be new to this, but there's room for me, and I will make room for me.
Come on.
Because it's already done. So I don't care who's laughing, and I don't care who thinks, oh, Michelle, this is not going to work because corporates are like this. I don't care, because they haven't seen me. They haven't experienced me. Once you do experience me, I will make that shift. So I'm not afraid, and I'm not ashamed.
I love it. I mean, you come from a corporate background. You mentioned about HR, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. All right. Let's hopefully there's someone here who's watching, who's thinking about, they want to get into that corporate space. I mean, listen, I do a lot of speaking as well.
Yes.
Myself, right? So maybe there's some nuggets that you can actually share with, myself and the audience, and say, what's the perception that people have of the corporate world that's false?
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. What is the perception they have which is actually false? One of the big things is they wouldn't want to work with me because I'm a small one-man band. That's false. That's a myth. And I'll tell you why. It's not that they wouldn't work with you because you're a one-man band or a freelancer, it's just one. What they want to do is work with subject matter experts. So if you are an expert in your area, whether you're a one-man band, whether you're VAT registered or not, if you can meet their corporate priority, either make them money, save them time, or push an initiative, then that's when they'll have a conversation with you. So it's a blatant myth that you have to have a big team, that you have to be a limited company, that you have to be VAT registered. I got mine before all of that, and my very first client I got without tendering was Amazon.
God have mercy.
So, and I didn't meet any of those criteria. But what I knew to get me in is building relationships and building my recommendations. That's what got me in. And it was my character and the way that I delivered that sustained that relationship.
Powerful. Well, how do I even know they're looking for what I'm a subject matter expert in? What if it couldn't?
You got to do your research. You got to do research. And this is another thing. So entrepreneurs come to me and they say, oh, Michelle, how do I know? And I said, so what research have you done? Just like you have to research your clientele. So what I do, if I want to get into the property and I want to speak at property conferences, and then there's an organisation that does all this, I'll understand the property market. I start reading the property mags. I'll sign up to the trade bodies so that I can get the intelligence. And it's all there for the taking. It will tell you what the property industry is going through. It'll tell you what's happening within property companies. And then that's all you do. You find the right contact person and just say, I know that this is what's happening within the property industry. Did you know that A, B, and C? And these are the things that you can talk about. These are things you can do. You give them some free value or low cost value for them their eyes to prick up and think, oh, who is this person? I've got this random email or a random message on LinkedIn, or I've seen something. So that's how you show up, and that's how you start to position yourself around corporates. So what I tend to do is I put on my Google alerts. I've changed all my Google alerts to companies that I want to know about. So now I've got insider information with certain brands that I want to get visible with. So every time they write something in the news or there's a press release, I get to see it first off because I've put it on my Google alerts. Simple things like that you can start doing. And then if it's like an accountancy, I might go to an accountancy conference. So I'm around these people. I'm talking to them. That's how you do it. But people are lazy. They don't want to do it. They want to sit down and corporates come to them. No corporates coming to your house. You go to their house and you meet them where they are. That's how it works.
I love that. the research thing transfers to property as well. I always say to our students, like, look, you can never ever be lazy in research when it comes to property, because actually the deal is won and lost in the research phase. The people who don't do the research, yeah, you can negotiate a deal. Yeah, you can end up paying whatever you like for the deal. But ultimately, what if in the end, the value of what you paid for the deal is way, way, way more inflated than the true value of the deal? You haven't done your research, right? But it's tedious doing the research. Who's got time for that?
Yeah.
But if you want to become a business owner, you want to excel at what you do, then you absolutely have to have time for that, because that's what's going to separate you from the others, right?
And this is the thing that entrepreneurs, not all entrepreneurs, but some entrepreneurs don't get. They want things easy, but easy come, easy go. And how I see it, a lot of people have the desire but don't have the discipline. They have the desire to be rich, the desire to be successful, but do you have the discipline in the boring stuff? Because that's the wealth is in the boring stuff. Because what I would do and what you wouldn't do, I would then stay up a bit later and do my research. I will dig deeper into something, all the boring stuff, but then I'm armed with more knowledge. So when now I need to execute on that, I'm coming to you with data, I'm coming with stats, I'm coming with knowledge of your competitors. Now they want to listen. So that's the difference. Some have the discipline, some just have the desire and no discipline.
Awesome. So who are the type of people would you say right now who are in need of leadership training, coaching?
I would say definitely in terms of like the larger organizations, I will definitely say like the emerging leaders, the developing leaders, those who are going from management to leadership positions in a company. So it could be head of operations or director level, because they're at that stage where they want to get it right, because they're moving into that leadership, that C-suite. They're sponges. They want to learn, they want to get it right. So when they step up, they know, okay, I'm here and I'm here to stay. And also those people who want to cut out all the, what do you call it? All the politics. Those are the people. I run like the Emerging Leadership Programme at University College of London, UCL. And I see they're at that stage where they want to learn about how can I be a better communicator? Because communication is the biggest problem that leaders have. How can I be better at leading remote teams? Because I might have a team there, but I might have hybrid workers. How do I get them engaged and keep them motivated? So it's those people who have a desire to be good leaders, or actually a desire to be great leaders, and they know they're going to be watched, they know they're going to be monitored. So they're the ones who are going to soak up all the right information. Okay,
you might have touched on it a little bit there, but what are the 3 core qualities that a great leader should have?
Listener. Be a really good listener, and you listen to what's being said, but also listen to what's not being said. And there's an art to that. That's an art to that. That's where you're looking at body language and all the non-verbal cues. So being a good listener, being a good communicator. So I do a lot around communication styles, because I know at a drop of a hat when I'm talking to somebody who is more visual than someone who's more auditory or kinesthetic. So one of my mentors, he's definitely auditory, which means when I talk to him, he sits, he doesn't say anything. He's quiet. So he's more a beta. There's alpha and there's beta. So I know when I speak to him, I can't come in the room, oh my God, Alan, this is what's just happened. That won't work with him, because he has more of an auditory communication. So I slow myself down so we build better rapport. And he'll listen to me more when I take my time, when I speak slower. Because an auditory person, they take your information before they respond. They have to replay it all in their mind. So then when I'm delivering my leadership training, I get them to understand people in their teams. Are they more auditory, more visual? If they're visual, you need to use graphics. You can't just tell them. There's certain words you will say, do you see what I'm saying? Or do you hear what I'm saying? Language patterns. So yeah, listening, communication skills, and understanding the motivators of people in your team.
Okay, cool. That's really, really powerful. I think from a business standpoint, I guess business owners are they have to be leaders, right? I think I resonate with all of those things. And if you haven't got those skills, I think it's going to be really difficult to run an organization or to get people within the organization to actually trust and respect you.
Definitely.
Being able to listen, communicate, and then understand, how people, actually receive and process that information is so key. Because you could end up getting it wrong. Even I've got a little daughter, right? Like too. So you have to use these skills of just because right now she's forming her identity. So me as a dad, I have to try to understand and not enforce maybe who I am into it. Let me just understand you a little bit, so I know how to. If I tell you, okay, cool, if we just play a little game where I say, oh, don't worry, you don't have to do that. Me and mommy are just gonna go do that. Is that gonna work? You go, oh, cool, you go do that and then bounce. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta start learning all these little tricks to try and figure out.
All right, influence is a big thing. Influence,
right? But just I just want to go back a little bit. Let's talk about something topical.
Okay.
All right. Talk about what's happening right now, because I can't believe I'm normally good at this stuff. I normally hit it right at the point when they talk about it, but I missed it on this one. But I'm gonna go back. But you've actually been through this stuff. So, Russell Brand, trial by media, wrong or right?
What, the trial by media?
Yeah.
I have come to the conclusion that if you live by the media, you die by the hands of the media. I actually believe that. I feel that there's a responsibility, and if you're going to use social media to get your message out, you have to then be prepared for the backlash.
Okay.
Definitely.
So I'll push back on that. I would say, and I'm a corporate for this in the 21st century. I always say, if you're a business owner today and you're not on social media, I mean, I don't want to say you're an idiot, but you are an idiot. It's ridiculous. People used to spend tens and hundreds of thousands of pounds to get the exposure that you can now get for free. What are you doing? If you're not on it, your competitors are going to crush you. And if you think you can spend your way out of it, cool. When they've got bigger budgets than you because they're getting the same eyeballs you're getting for free, and now they've got all this spare cash, to crush you, then you're just going to lose out, right? It just doesn't really make sense. So what you're saying by saying that if you live by the media, you die by the media, essentially saying, as a business owner, do not use the tools that you've got available there, because if you use it, and it comes back to even if people are doing it erroneously, and I'm not saying what's happening to Russell Brand is wrong. I don't know. We don't know. No one knows.
Yes.
The people who've produced these programs do not know. The writers who've written the newspapers do not know. Because at the moment, it's speculation. There's a lot of evidence.
Yeah.
Some of it sounds pretty compelling. But nonetheless, we do not know the truth.
Yeah.
But judgment has been cast.
Yes.
So what do you think of that?
No, so I'd still go back to the same thing. And I know people will disagree, but I don't care really. My thing is that we use the tools of social media. Social media is free. By and large, it's free. But there's a price. Something can be free, but still have a price attached to it. And that's the same thing with Russell Brand, with anybody who, there's another lady, I can't remember, her name just escapes me. But we can use the tools for good, but those same tools can still turn around and hurt us. And that's the price we have to pay. That's the price we have to pay. And people will say, well, Michelle, that's not really fair. That's not right. Life isn't fair. Life isn't fair, but we just have to find a way around it. And like you say, it's trial by media. He's not the first. He won't be the last. This can happen to you. This can happen to me. And then we think, oh, how can social media do this? But at the same time, he has also used social media to promote some of the things that he's done and had lots of followers, had monetized it. When do we pick that when it's right and when do we pick that when it's wrong? Then people might say to me, but Michelle, what's that lady? No, I better not say it.
Which one? Explain it. Maybe I'll remember the name.
No, I know who he is. The line's gone. All right. Okay. It's sad, because I believe in the hashtag be kind. Yeah. And I love when that slogan came out and everybody was doing that. And we've seen people that have passed away or have killed themselves because of how social media has given them stick. Now, I don't condone that one bit, and that's too far.
Yeah.
That's too far. So I think there is a level of responsibility where we need to know when to stop. When to stop. But the thing is, one man's limit is not another man's limit. What do we do? So that's so although I'm sounding like I'm contradicting myself now.
No.
But I think there's a limit. I want to get that across. There needs to be a limit because like we've had Caroline Flack, for example, who used to host Love Island. You know, she got, we can't say that social media did it and killed her, but they played a part in her demise, definitely.
Yeah.
But and then at the same time, when social media is all good and flowy, we want to push our agenda out. So yeah, there's got to be a limit.
What you said is you got to have thick skin. You got to be brave to go out there. Yeah. I don't really disagree with you. For me, it's just more about the so for example, so if we Caroline Flack situation is obviously pretty sad, but if we look at the brand now, you know, I guess I don't know. You've lived through this stuff, right? You've lived through this stuff, so that's why I thought I'd bring it up to you, because the truth is, people are now dropping him. He's now losing. He's now losing money based on what? Based on what?
No evidence.
This is the point that I'm making.
No real evidence.
This is what I'm saying. Like it's a case that could be legal if charges are brought on.
Yeah.
So why is that happening? Why are things being dropped? Because of the core of public opinion, right? So that's the point that I'm making.
People are fickle, though.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We have to understand that people are fickle and people move in waves. So this is the wave of, demoralizing somebody. This is the wave that we're in. Then something else could happen in about 2 weeks' time, and then the wave goes back. Same like with like Philip Schofield and all of that. You know,
that's like distant years now, wasn't it?
Exactly. He was like the world's treasure, Britain's treasure, and then the waves of opinion then changes. Now, no one, if you type in Philip Schofield's name, hardly anything comes up. But this is the cycle that we live in. This is how fickle the world is, though, isn't it? Yeah, and we can't always please the world.
So true, so true. No, I agree with that. A little bit cynical, but at the same time, it is just the reality. Like, it is what it is. I completely get exactly where you're coming from. But listen, let's see how this one plays out, because I am, should I still say am, or was a big Russell Brand fan, like massive. Like his comedy, his all of that. No, I didn't care about all that stuff. Genuinely, I didn't really get.
Yes,
I didn't get it. I didn't find I'm funny. I didn't really find it. I didn't get it. I was never that guy. I don't even know a lot of his movies. But what he's been doing the past couple of years, like challenging the status quo, challenging big pharma, big business, political decisions, all of this. I'm like, this is my world.
He's definitely shifted.
Yeah, I mean, from what people are saying, for sure, like I said, I didn't know the past.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So for me, I'm like I love what this guy is doing. Like, genuinely a huge fan. So hearing this is just like, oh man, like, why you, bro? Like, do you know what I'm saying? But I'm not on the other side where all these people who are on my side, who are big fans, just, he never done it. This is just a conspiracy theory. It's like, bro, big man. Listen, some of the stuff I'm hearing ain't good. Some of it don't sound good. So you can't just say it's all a conspiracy. That's why they're coming from. It's like my thing is just, let's go to court. It's like the whole Andrew Tate thing. I can resonate with 90% of what this guy is saying is really, really powerful, and we need to hear it.
Yes.
But did he traffic women? He did that shit. Yeah. You've said yourself that you've done it. You've tried to teach people how to do it, and now you're trying to say you've never done it. Like,
but once again, we're putting people on a pedestal as well, thinking that they can do no wrong. And this is what social media or life in general, when people are championing a cause and doing the right thing, we're all backing them. Then we almost put them on a pedestal that they can do no wrong. They're still human. They still make mistakes. And I mean, some mistakes are bigger than, I can't even call them a mistake. And then we can't cope when they've done something wrong.
Amazing.
It's a hard one.
I hear you. But listen, I've really, really enjoyed this. It's been an incredible conversation. I can't thank you enough for coming down. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. But the final question, like I said to you, with everything that you've done now, and the trajectory of where things are going, we're speaking downstairs, you're doing some crazy event which is going to be absolutely phenomenal in a couple of months. So, what remains your need to succeed?
My daughter. And I know this sounds like, I'm for your children. But my daughter, she has been through so much. I want her to see, I need her to see that it's possible. So I don't even need to succeed. This is it. I don't even need to succeed, but she can see that it is possible. And that's all I need. She is, your children, they are double what you are. So, if I do something wrong, she's going to do it double the time. But she sees what I'm doing. She is a product of her environment. And I need her to see it, and she sees it. This girl, she's 18, and she said she decided that she doesn't want to go to university. She got really great A-levels, doesn't want to go to university. So I was like, why? Mum, you've gone to university and you don't use your degree. I want to get into property and commercial real estate. I don't have to have a degree. I just need to be in the right circles. I just need to work my way up. So she's refusing to go to university. I'm like, okay, fine. Not 100% happy with it, but it's her choice. But I've realised that she's seen the entrepreneurial side of me, and she's like, if Mum can do it, then I can do it. So she hasn't seen me, make my millions, but she can see that it's possible. And that's why I do what I do.
Michelle Raymond, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You are listening to the Need to Succeed podcast with Ibrahim Brahma. Make sure to like and subscribe for more episodes like this.